Welcome to Story Route Zero.
This is a podcast where friends gather to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and the strange worlds of video games. We often don't know where we're going, but that's half the fun. Come on the journey with us. Hit us up on Twitter at StoryRoute0. You can send us an email at StoryRoute0@gmail.com. That includes questions, concerns, comments, complaints, pet pics. Send us some recipes. Send us some stories about your day. We're going to listen.
Podcast, start your engines. We have liftoff. Let's have a journey.
Living off borrowed time, the clock ticked faster. That'd be an hour. They knock the slick blaster. Dick Dastardly and Muttley with the sick laughter. A gunfight, they come to cut the mixmaster. That's Mad Villain, better known as the late, great MF Doom. My name is Matthew Keel. This is episode 68 of Story Route Zero. We're almost nice, guys. I've only got two co-hosts with me this week because it's a game club week. And I believe it is our, is it? Now this I'm going to fuck up the number on. I think it's our 13th. Neither of you know, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so in tow, I have Michaela Crescione, everyone's favorite transplant masshole. How are you?
I am good. Been a long Monday.
It has. Also in tow, celebrating this month's Game Club entry, representing Jersey, Jason Marshall. How are you, sir?
Doing well.
Now the question is, we're doing Concrete Genie today. Did you paint the picture behind you, or did you get that off the internet?
Internet.
Okay. I was going to say, because if you did that, I would be like, wow, your dexterity is real good, because some of the genies I made were horror shows.
This is Game Club 10, by the way.
Oh, this is only the 10th? Wow, I thought we did way more. I think the backlogs are what's throwing me off then.
Yeah, because it didn't start till like last June or something.
Yeah. So before we get to that, how was everybody's weekend? Michaela, what'd you do?
Weekend. Busy. Everything's busy. Did some adulting and stuff. Got some Mother's Day stuff squared away for next weekend. Ran some errands. Did my workouts like I do. And we are officially, I am officially at the point where I'm starting to pack stuff because I'm going to be taking stuff home next weekend. And this desk that I love, somebody's bought it and they're going to come take it. So I got to get all my shit off it. I've had this desk in my family for 23 years. It's from the house I grew up in. So I'm going to miss it. But so next week I'll be sitting at a folding table when we do this.
Yeah.
Just for the last couple of weeks that I'm here. And of course, played a fuckload of video games.
Well, that's cool.
Or video game.
I'm kind of jealous you played games plural.
Well, I didn't.
Jason, how was your weekend?
I played games plural too.
Sweet.
I've submitted a review, which should be up tomorrow for Scourgebringer.
Wait, what year is it?
Yeah.
What year is it? Wait till you see. It says Vita in the title.
Yeah.
What year is it?
I reviewed a game on Vita.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like bucket list stuff for you anyway, right?
What?
That's like bucket list stuff for you anyway, right? Review games on Vita. Not just one, just like as many as you can.
Yeah, I know. But I think that's the first one I did on Vita.
You should just go hog wild with it. Be like, yo, I'm going to review Pixel Junk Monsters on Vita. I'll bet you Obelisk doesn't have one.
Although we do have like one of our more like popular articles is about Long Live the Vita. And I linked it in the review.
Vita's such a good it's such a dude, the people who trash talk the Vita are the same people who trash talk the Wii U. The Wii U was better than anybody gave it credit for, so is the Vita. And I'm okay dying on that hill. Now I also hate
another handheld.
I also hated the idea of the 3DS. Now that I own one, I'm like, man, this thing's pretty cool. Like I'm okay being wrong here. But anyway.
No, I don't think we did anything. No, we didn't. The little one got sick. And then, of course, go to the doctor, and during a pandemic, that's automatically
assault tablet. It's fine.
It's automatically triggers. No, we have to get her tested. So we kept both of the girls home this week, today, because we don't want to be responsible for spreading a disease during a pandemic. So, but negative
Isn't
test.
that novel? Somebody who cares.
Negative test. We're all good.
I'm glad the test was negative. Yeah, because I don't like seeing young people get COVID. I really don't, because
you feel bad when it's like a 2-year-old. They're just crying, like a little older when they can talk. It's just like, shut up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I'm just relaxed. I mean, they finally finished our backyard, so we had adventures with sprinklers.
Awesome.
So that was entertaining. Doing the whole run out there, turn sprinkler on, run away quick, run back out, try to move it while it's still.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like your first trip to the shore. You run towards the water, but then when it starts coming at you, you run away.
But that's about it.
Cool. So I had a weird one this weekend. I was told, like, I knew I was on call Friday night, but I was given what is called a box full of burnout Friday morning before I went to work. I was texted by my manager like 9:30. I usually leave about 10:30 every morning. And she said that, so you're going to work noon to 4 today, and then you're going to come back at midnight and work till 5:30 a.m. And then you're actually still going to have to work your shift on Saturday, but we're going to cover your first 2 hours. And like, so I don't have a problem doing that. I know that when people saw me leaving at 4 o'clock, it seems like every new person that sees you, like, why are you leaving at 4? I'm like, okay, now I have to tell this story again. But I hate it when my coworkers like think that they can do the complaining for me. Like it's almost like they've pulled out their metaphorical pitchfork and there's like, yeah, let's go. Let's go rebel. I'm like, I don't have fucking time for this. I need to get home. But yeah, it sucks. But like, also, I knew what I was getting into when I decided to work in healthcare. Like, I knew that was going to be a thing. I knew that holidays don't really exist anymore. Weekends, what's a weekend? It didn't really bother me. Didn't change the fact that come Saturday at 7:30 p.m. when I came home from work for the final time in 18 hours, I was exhausted. So I got plenty of sleep that night. And then Reba and we actually went out for just like a nice day drinking lunch on Sunday, which was very good. We took the 4-legged weirdo bagel, and he got so exhausted, and there was a Shetland that kept trying to hump him, which was adorable. And we were just like, stand up for yourself, bagel, get consent.
Shetland isn't like a sheepdog or a pony?
The sheepdog. If it was a pony, if it was a pony,
that story would have been on a new level.
I'm stupid enough that I would have posted that video somewhere.
Yeah,
Because I would have been like, watch this shit. But
the story was here. That was a
It could have been here.
Yeah.
It could have been.
I didn't realize Shetlands were ponies as well. Well, poor dog.
No,
Other than that, it was a nice Sunday, and we got very little done, and it was kind of awesome. I did play a little bit of one video game, a lot of another, and a lot of the one we're about to talk about. So let's just go to Game Club, Jason, shall we?
All right, we shall.
Cool.
We played Concrete Genie by Pixelopus. I'm like
Pixelopus.
I was like looking at the word, like thinking, is there like it's supposed to say a certain way or just split it up into two words? Anyway, released
Pixelopus.
Exactly.
You know what? That thought crossed my mind. I'm like, that's too many syllables.
There's letters that aren't even in this word.
It was released October 8th, 2019.
Okay.
And they added VR after. It was just a small. At first, I thought when I loaded the game up, I was like, "Oh, that'd be kind of cool to play in a VR." But it's a different. From what I understand, it's a different area. It's not.
Yeah, I don't think it's the game.
You play as Ash, who has the ability to. Well, basically, you're a street artist. You become a street artist. You were an artist, and you decide graffiti's the lifestyle for you.
I'm going to interrupt you here. I feel like you're just a kid who just retreats into his sketchbook rather than.
No, yeah, you are.
Ash Paintum, we'll call him.
Yes. As colorful as Concrete Genie is on the outside, there's actually depth to this story. It's not just. So, yes, retreats into his sketchbook is actually the best way to describe it because there are dark moments, not just the darkness which exists in the game. You control the painting. I controlled it by the right analog stick because I am not super dexterous with the damn motion controls, which sucked.
I had no problem with them actually.
Oh, I was about to throw my.
I even did it laying down in bed.
No.
Like, I mean, there were definitely times where I was better at it than others.
I controlled this.
Yeah, I used the motions as well.
I controlled this like 10-year-old me did. I kept walking closer to the television, thinking if I hold it up and just move, why is this not working? What is going on? But yeah, you have to solve.
Jess comes in. Why are there so many holes in the wall? Video game. Don't worry about it.
It's a puzzle game though. Through your painting, it's not just the painting his art from his sketchbook. There's actually puzzles to solve as you go through the fictional town of Denska. And you
puzzle / escort missions on some level too.
Yeah, I can see that. Although sometimes those that you escort were very stubborn.
Oh man!
Wait. Is there an escort mission where they're not in any game ever?
Well,
no, I just meant sometimes they ran ahead of you, and you
I think Yorda in Eco is not nearly as frustrating as people make her out to be.
Odd hill to die on.
Maybe. She's not Trico, that's for sure. Trico kind of wanted to. Sometime during The Last Guardian, I would have been okay with bashing his head in with a shovel because he was getting annoying. But Yorda in Eco is not very annoying as an escort mission.
Your job is to clear the darkness from the various zones using paint, and the figures you draw actually aid you in your mission. They grant super paint, at times, which kind of brightens up the place. And then each zone ends with like a masterpiece. And like behind me, which I took from the internet because no.
Yeah, I was gonna say that looks like a first masterpiece.
No, that looked nothing like mine. Like
I think
I
that's the
had
first area.
one of my genies, his tail was definitely not attached to his body the way I drew it, and it was just like, what the? Yeah.
We're gonna get into it a little bit later as we go through the game, but the ideas that are presented with the painting, especially the painting of the genies, while I'm not trying to throw shade by saying none of us probably did it that well, the ideas behind it are kind of fascinating, I think. Now I haven't seen your guys' genies. I just know mine were nightmare fuel. So like mine were bad.
The game is it's beautiful. It's very bright. Although the facial animations reminded me of the old like Christmas cartoon.
Claymation.
Thank you.
I think it's intentionally claymation.
Yeah, it is like the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. You know,
and yes, I am old enough to get these references. By the way, I grew up with these on VHS. Just fucking saying.
It's weird because the rest of the animation didn't match that, but then you see the faces, you're like.
The face is the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but the rest of the animation is it's very Pixar adjacent.
Yeah. So one of your drawings from the beginning is basically the leader of the bunch and kind of guides you, and then as you go through town, you draw additional ones that have like the fire ones help. They'll burn away things to move stuff. The electric one can power, so it's as you go through, it's pretty cool. And then you have to contend with there's a bunch of bullies who initially stole your sketchbook.
It's a stealth game.
And it's kind of stealth, but there's really no, if they see you kind of just run away and then regroup. I mean,
or if you get caught if you get caught it just basically I got caught several times.
When you distract them, you yell out like,
"Hey!"
the jerk face gang or something.
The wisecracks out of Ash Paint him are pretty good. Canonically, he's just going to be Ash Paint him. I'm sorry.
I'm good with that.
I'm good. And basically, you had one main objective to advance, but then you can find like hidden sketch pieces and pages all around, and
they give you different there's the ones that are they say they're collectibles, but all of these are kind of just handed to you, so you can do all of the things like in the environment. But if you wanted to get all of the features for your genies, you had to go searching.
So, anyone have an opinion overall? Where are we on the thumbs up, thumbs down scale for the game?
Yeah, I see that.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. That's a meatloaf score. I mean, take it.
And I think that's based on personal preference. We were going right, like not.
Personal. As a game, definitely a thumbs up.
Oh yeah.
For me, which I bet you both knew that was going to happen.
Definitely. Yeah.
Really. So it's like halfway in between, because I can recognize a good game.
Sure.
It's a quality game. Although, and I played on PS5 too, the loading is awful into the game, even on PS5. What the hell?
I played it on PS4.
The second half was really bad on PS4.
It was weird. I thought the PS5, I was like, oh, this will load quicker? No,
did not.
Not at all. But, I played, once I turned off the motion controls, because admittedly, when I started, I'm like, I'm not going to even get past the tutorial if I have to use the damn motion control. I was having a hard time for some reason. But once you can use your analog stick, I was like, okay, I could do this now.
Yeah,
I like that they put the reset button though. Like you tap triangle and it recenters very easily. I think that was a smart design choice for motion control.
And it's cool that you can, as you go, you can pick whatever designs. Like a lot of the goals were lighting all the lights, but you didn't have to use. You can use anything to light them, and it was cool. You didn't have to like pinpoint the light because that would have drove me nuts. You can kind of just paint on the wall near them and just kind of. I use the stars a lot. I kind of
same.
Just kind of did it, but
I did. There in that first area, that first and second area, there are walls with just big old suns on them. Just trying to light up as many lights as possible.
Like when you're moving the genies around, it reminded me. Is it Coke that does the commercial where the figures come alive? The cartoon, and they like it might be Coke or Pepsi, and they basically keep moving to get the Coke can because they all want to drink. And I was like, yeah, this is. I'll have to look.
Yeah, I think it's one of those.
But yeah, I mean, who wants to talk about their experience?
So when I'd heard about this game upon release, I heard a ton of praise, specifically from like the Giant Bomb podcast. Like they're like, yeah, this is actually better than you think it is. Like I don't think it was anywhere near their game of the year that year, but I don't think that was. Some games are going for that. Clearly this one was not. This just wanted to be something. This one wanted to execute on a good concept, and I think they did that 100%. I found myself once you started. Oh, let's see. There's a moment as you're getting through each of the areas the first time. Now, there are two halves to this game. The first one is kind of like that stealthiness. You want to avoid the bullies, but at the end of each area, they get a hold of your brush. You hold it. Both of you and whatever bully grabs it are holding it at the same time. They do a Freaky Friday thing where Ash Paintum sees the memories of whatever bully is holding onto the brush as well. It was that moment where I'm like, oh, this is no one talked about this, and I actually feel like that was I didn't read any reviews for the game because I thought it looked good. I feel like if I read reviews, it would have just been like, yeah, you paint stuff, it's great. But I did not expect what I got, and that sort of made this. It definitely ascended this from a fun little motion control romp to something of a story that I really identified with and related to. Frankly, because at the end of that first section, when you see into the first bully's mind, you're like, oh, I've been on both sides of these at some point in my life. I think as youths, we've all been
what was that word?
The
youth?
The Utes. As Utes. As Utes, we'd all been on the delivery and receiving end of whatever, business we're going to give somebody or take from somebody. And it was nice that they explored that in a good way. And I think the payoff that you get, at the midway point of the game it's definitely earned, and it's definitely like, balanced is the word that comes to mind, but it feels like plausible. It's probably more appropriate. What about you guys?
Yeah, that surprised me actually, because the game starts, you just figure, okay, these kids are bullies, whatever. They steal your sketchbook, you want to get it back. And like it starts like you think, oh, that's your whole thing. You're going to just collect your journal back and paint along the way. But yeah, that first, because I might have read a few reviews. Like there was praise. Like it's a sound game. It
Mhm.
works. Like that's it. It's impressive in that. Like it doesn't. It's not like. I guarantee in like 10 years, people aren't going to be like, "Oh, what was your favorite game of 2019?" It's not going to be on a ton of lists. But like as far as a game that works, like it's weird because it works, so you didn't hear about it. There's no bugs.
Yeah.
There's no contra. But like that first time you get to, so it's when you get to the second zone, and the bully touches the paintbrush at the same time as you, and you're like, "Oh, this is." I was not expecting this kind of narrative for the game,
Mhm.
and you're like, "This is." And then it kind of makes sense because you see this like purple like covering, and you can't really tell. Like you just think it's like spreading, but that plot point explains why it's spreading. It's like this negativity, and it makes it realer in a way. It's not just some like supernatural like.
It's not. Remember the movie Fern Gully?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not that pollution monster.
Right,
The oil machine.
It's actually something that happened to this town and brought all of that, and all of that is manifested through its citizens, and it's actually a pretty brilliant story.
And I like that Ash Paynham. This is. He's not like he sees this like supernatural going on, but he's like a kid, so he's like a little skeptical, like but more scared. But he's like, okay, that's not normal, but I'm gonna check it out anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't hurt that you have the Ori and the Blind Forest sort of warm intro with Luna.
Yeah.
I mean, like Luna is the emotional momentum throughout this game. Seeing Luna show up in masterpieces, especially at the beginning of the game, and the way that Luna doesn't speak, but the kind of Jim Henson sounds out of Luna that intimate, what's being said. You're kind of like, oh yeah, practical effects could be good here, but like it's all right that it's a video game.
Yeah. Michaela?
For me, I had a little bit of a different intro to this game than you guys did. So I remember I was following this game up until its release, but before that, I remember pretty sure it was featured at the E3 prior to this.
It was.
It was Pirates Games, I think.
Yeah, and I actually bought the game for my roommate. Her birthday was a couple days after the release. So I asked her, do you want this or something else for Switch? Maybe Fire Emblem or something. It was 2019, right? So, and she chose Concrete Genie. She was a fine arts major in college.
She's sick of you talking about Fire Emblem, wasn't she?
Probably.
I don't even want this stupid game, but at least she'll stop talking about the other.
Did eventually get Fire Emblem, play it, and love it. Just fucking saying.
Which is correct.
Yes.
Fire Emblem was good.
It was very good. But so yeah, she chose Concrete Genie. She was a fine arts major. She was attracted to the idea of the game. So I picked that up for her and I watched her play the beginning of it. I didn't watch her. She actually never finished the whole game. Jess has this really annoying habit that she admits is a really annoying habit. When she really, really likes a game, she doesn't want it to end, so she won't finish it. You know people like that?
No idea what you're talking about. Never done that before in my life. Please stop
all the
attacking me
time. But so I didn't watch her play the whole game. I watched her play like that first 2 areas, like the up to the hydroelectric plant. I watched her play.
Okay.
And then I just never played it myself until it was free on PS Plus, and I was like, you know what? Why have I never played this game? It looks great. It's short. It's pretty. Let's fucking do it. Especially with the narrative that's been going on and that's been annoying me lately with like that random like 2 weeks on Twitter where everyone's like, Sony only cares about AAA IPs. Look at this experimental, not AAA game that they got behind. And they do all the time. They support indies all the time. Look at what they just helped Housemarque do. Look at what they just did with Abe's Oddworld, whatever. And this game, Twitter can go eat my farts. But yeah, so I finally sat down and played this game fairly quickly, or I guess laid down. I did do motion. I was able to do the motion controls while laying in bed. Not bad. And I really enjoyed it. I knew some of uh-oh. We lost Matt. But I knew some of what to expect with like the story, I guess, with the bullies and grabbing onto the paintbrush and seeing their trauma. So that wasn't a total surprise for me. What was a surprise for me that I didn't really remember or know about even was the gameplay shift that happens towards the latter end of the game, where there's, I hesitate to say combat. I don't know if you could call it combat. It's closer to it than anything else in the game. Yeah. So I wasn't expecting that. I loved the paint skating. I was like, this is what I've been waiting for my whole life. That the paint skating part felt great, and I love that it wasn't restricted to only the combat section. Anytime you go into the game after that, you can paint skate again, so you can get around Denska much faster. So I love that. And I feel prefer the bigger focus of the gameplay being the painting and the genies and the puzzles. Also, something that we haven't mentioned, there's some platforming in this game, and this kid is doing some fairly dangerous Nathan Drake looking shit sometimes. Like, yeah, should you be climbing on that? Oh, you're gonna jump over that? That's not safe at all. But yeah, so there's a baby bit of platforming in this too.
Nope, no fall damage. Although you shout out when you hit the ground. I tested it.
And he can't swim. He can't swim. No. If you go in the water, you're done.
But you can zip line.
Yes.
With your brush.
Yeah.
It's not even like a set up zip line. You just makeshift a zip line out of your paintbrush on electrical wires. This kid's got
which is made of wood. And I was a Boy Scout. When you put that much friction on wood, it tends to burn.
Yeah. So what? Yeah.
Pretty nimble.
Well, he does some like climbing, like when in the sewers. None of that is safe. None of that. This kid has some Nathan Drake levels. Of bravery.
He's Nathan Drake, Ezio Auditore, fucking Ghost Runner, Mirror's Edge, Catalyst. It's just like, nope, I now defy gravity. That's what I do.
Yeah, he's got some serious upper body strength too. He pulls himself up, like even just in the lighthouse, the way he gets up to the top. Mad respect, kid. Mad respect.
This doesn't look sturdy.
I mean, how old are we estimating Ash paint him at?
I would say like that tween.
Like
14, like, 15 at most.
Yeah, like that. So I would say
I would even say 12, 13 is viable.
At that point, I could still do pull-ups with impunity because I didn't weigh a ton.
Yeah. I'm going 15 only because his parents told him not to go there, but it was enough that they left him alone in the first place.
I was alone at 12.
Yeah, I was alone at 13, yeah.
I was babysitting my sister at 12.
Okay, fine, whatever. I don't
know.
My parents are
I don't well, I wasn't babysitting my sister because she was the adult and she's 3 years younger than I am. She was babysitting me. But that's a different show. That's a different show.
And in Japan, the game is called Ash and the Magic Brush.
Missed opportunity. Could have been Ash Kingdom.
Yeah.
Then they get sued by the Pokemon company.
No, they wouldn't have. No, they wouldn't have. Ash Paintum. That's Ash Ketchum.
You know what I just thought though?
They are
The
second
crossover
cousins
opportunity.
at most.
The
Exactly.
crossover opportunities with we just had Pokemon Snap. Make it happen. Nintendo and Sony. Hold hands.
Quick side note. I was in a Reddit rabbit hole, so it took a while down. Someone pointed out that all the Pokemon professors are named after trees, so therefore Ash has to become a professor at some point because his name. And I was like, and people were just like, wait, what? Like it just blew Reddit's. Anyway, back to Ash Paintum and his magic brush.
Yes. So yeah, Matt, what you just kind of missed was I wasn't totally surprised by the bully narrative because I saw Jess do some of it. What I was surprised by was the gameplay shift where there is combat in the latter part of the game.
The second half of it. I was like, man, they're really trying to be a Dark Souls game here, aren't they?
But I love the paint skating.
Oh, definitely. I mean, in order to get the I'm Back trophy, which you get for basically doing any painting after New Game Plus, like I think I skated around the first couple of areas multiple times before I actually painted anything else. Yeah, paint skating is the bomb.
I didn't know I was waiting my whole life for paint skating, but apparently I was.
Well, honestly, I was thinking about games like Haven and The Pathless that have come out recently that sort of seem in that same vein where mobility is kind of the move. Yes, I just realized how stupid that sentence is, but I did it anyway. But I think I liked, paint skating is really good.
Well, the game's director said there was heavy inspiration from Jet Set Radio, so it makes sense.
Yes. Weird. Because Jet Set Radio, what are you doing? Spray painting.
You're
another mind just got blown.
You're essentially spray painting here. That brush ain't coming anywhere.
Yeah, he's not stepping back and eyeing up his strokes. You're spray
that brush
painting.
ain't coming anywhere near the walls. At times I would be on a rooftop and just hit as many lights as I could across the way. Just
Yep.
It's like this paintbrush is some reach. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I love just you talked about being up on a rooftop. I love doing stop and stare in this game. Like, obviously, the colors from the painting that you do are beautiful, but also sometimes it's like somebody is like making this game and they found the bloom effect for the lighting. They're like, yes, and just went all the way up.
Yeah. The bloom slider is used liberally in this game.
And you know what? I'm not mad about it.
No, I'm not mad about it either. I mean,
so it's a pretty game, even when it's not pretty, like, setting. Like, even in the dark parts of the game, it can be very pretty. So I appreciate, obviously, it's a game of aesthetics.
Yeah.
There to be appreciated, and I appreciate it.
And it's really funny since, I mean, I know both you and I have been playing Nier Replicant.
I was gonna say another game with blue.
So you go from the game that sort of like discovered bloom lighting. I know it didn't, but I'm just, you know what I'm saying. Like early bloom lighting versus bloom lighting now, you see a difference in the tech. It's almost like a decade has gone by, and things done changed a little bit.
Have you looked at old footage of the original Nier and what the lighting looks?
Yes, oh god.
It's like somebody turned a flashlight on in the middle of the ugliest, stankiest bog ever, and that's the sun coming through.
Yeah. You're in a swamp. No, that's the sun.
This place
before we talk about other games, does anyone have any like closing remarks for
this? I wanted to go around trophies, status, everyone. We don't usually bring that into Game Club, but it does seem to be a point for all of us. That's something that we sort of touched on. Yeah. You could maybe go into a little bit.
I'm 3 trophies from the platinum.
I'm about 20, and I don't know if I will get those.
What do you have left to do, Matt?
I have to do the genie moments, get all the pages, and I have to paint for 3 minutes.
In the free paint thing?
Is it in the free paint thing? Because that's what I've not done.
Yes.
So yeah.
Is it weird that free paint's unlocked like pretty much immediately? It's like all of a sudden the title comes up and goes, now free paint's available, so screw the rest of the game, just free paint.
I mean, I can see someone going, oh, I'm going to do that for a while.
I can see kids having fun with that.
No, yeah. I mean, it's a short intro, how the game works. It's basically the in-game tutorial, and then it becomes available.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah, I mean, if people enjoy that or wanted to explore it more, I guess it makes sense. But
I think people use the photo mode a lot in there, too, for when they were, like, when the photo mode for this game was hopping a little bit when the game released. Of course, I love me some photo mode.
Photo mode's a good time.
I don't think I really shared any pictures, but even if I don't share them, I love to take photos in games all the time. I've mostly been sharing pictures of that other game we won't speak of just yet. And that one doesn't even have a fucking photo mode.
No, it does not. Fucking missing out, Yoko Taro. No, I will say, just to lead into what Jason was talking about with final thoughts. I really respected the fact that there was an adult conversation after the second half of the game. Well, before you go to the ending, the second half of the game, where everyone's like, "So why did you do this?" And Ash Painton basically says, "Look, when we had our hands on the brush, I sort of saw that." Why you're angry with me isn't about me, and he sort of like goes through it, and everyone sort of realizes, like, man, I didn't realize I needed to look inward, and I hope that there are younger players that play this game and kind of take that on board, because we live in an age where bullying is very, very easy and can be very anonymous. And sometimes it can exist in front of us without us even knowing it. And seeing everyone sort of just take a look inward. Like, is it the best look inward? No. Because, you know, this is a 3-hour game. There's not a whole lot of room for nuance and exploration, but I think what they have is handled really, really well, and I hope people play it, see it, and take it on board.
Yeah, I likened the game to a game I had reviewed last year, Iris and the Giant. It's a card, a deck builder, which is actually free on Twitch Prime. I had tweeted the other day, tagged the creator, and it reminded me of that. She retreated to this card game, but like described like her feelings and everything as these like demons or monsters, which is kind of what Concrete Genie. Like I said at the top, like, this game's deeper than you would think from like the box art, cover art, like all that. Like, I may go for the platinum and kind of I might let Aria do it, actually, because other than the sections where you had to stay away from the bullies, the painting, I mean, I didn't really like it, but I could see how people would, and it's even the free paint mode. I might even like let her, and then sure I can. And like you said, it's not a long platinum, but it's more of a. I'm not gonna force myself to do it for something. Like, I can appreciate it's a good game. If I hope everyone picked it up if they want to try it, because it was free.
Yeah. If you have PlayStation Plus, you should have picked this up. I do want Before I say what I'm going to say, Michaela, your thoughts? Or Jason, were you done?
Oh, I'm done.
Okay, just making sure.
My thoughts. This for such a short game, like we've mentioned, you can beat this in 3 hours, no problem. But for such a short game, it does handle more than you think it can. Not to just keep repeating what everyone says, but it handles several themes actually. Like it's got the bullying. There's an environmental theme with the oil spill and everything that happened to Denska. Just the general metaphor for negativity, not necessarily specific to bullying, but negativity towards oneself even. Stuff like that. So there's 3 big themes between the negative emotions, the bullying, and the environmental factors going on here that you wouldn't be like, hey, this painting game has 3 huge issues that are emotional and deep that you can explore. Again, not as deep as you could in like a 30-hour game that's way more narrative centric than this is, but it still does a pretty good job of making something that's cohesive. And you can actually take a bite out of. So I think they executed this very well. I'm very glad that creative projects like this come to fruition on a stage where Sony gets to give it that extra bit of attention. I hope more people picked it up during PS Plus because I did enjoy it. I'm not typically a fan of motion controls, but I actually chilled with them pretty fine. Actually, my entire summation of this game was pretty chill, relaxing to do. Like the story, it's got some deep and meaningfuls in it, but the gameplay is pretty chill. And I don't play very many chill games, as you may have noticed. So every once in a while, it's good to find that because a lot of times games like that don't necessarily hold my attention, but I did enjoy this enough to go for that platinum, which took me about 6-ish hours to do. So definitely enjoyed my time with it, felt that it was worthwhile, and I'm glad I finally got to it.
One thing I do want to shout out and really draw attention to is as horror showish as my genies were, I did appreciate that in the second half of the game you had to fight 3-dimensional versions of them. I also appreciated that every time you finished an area, it panned back through so you could see essentially your mess. If you're good with motion controls, like the picture that Jason pulled off the internet, it's probably something to behold. You're like, wow, I really put a lot of work into this, and it looks great. Especially towards the end of my time with it today, because I did everything today, where I was just trying to get all of the trophies where you painted a certain thing a certain amount of times. Yeah, there are plenty of walls with a lot of mushrooms on them, or there's that one wall with 10 different moons on them because you had to paint 10 moons. All of that somehow, despite its sheer messiness, still has a quality to it that I don't know how it happened. And I kind of feel like that's the magic trick of this game. I mean, especially with the genies and whatever nonsense you're trying, and all of a sudden you see that thing walking around. I don't know about Dreams, but if Little Big Planet did that sort of witchery, like people would have latched on those games a lot more than they did.
Something to dovetail real quick when you mentioned with the genies. Also, I think it is determined by how you draw them and what features you give them. They have slightly different personalities too.
Yeah, definitely.
I mentioned that.
And yeah, they went all out on doing that, and I will watch Pixelopus and see what they do next. Will it be a day one purchase? I don't know. It depends on what it is. But I do know that they left a very, very strong impression with this game. I don't think it's their. I mean, if this is their first game, that's an impressive first outing. I don't have the stuff up in front of me, but I know that I had never heard of them before this game.
Actually, it's their second game.
What was their first game?
Entwined.
Another PlayStation game.
Entwined.
2014.
I feel like that was a Plus game too.
Yep, I believe it was.
I may actually have that, and I may actually play it now.
Oh, this is the one you have to guide their souls with each of the analog sticks. They're separate. I remember hearing about this. You basically, each one's controlled by the other.
Is it like a brothers-like
I was
thing?
gonna say two brothers.
Yeah, but kind of. I mean, but they're literally. I guess it's just. I mean, if you look it up, you'll probably recognize it. But I remember hearing about this.
Can you imagine what these guys can and probably will do with the DualSense?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the thought.
That's a conversation for y'all, because I don't have PS5 yet. Gotta play that Demon Souls.
I gotta fucking finish that game.
You do.
I got so derailed.
Well,
All right.
look inward.
Game Club 10. Concrete.
In the books.
Anyone play any other games?
What are other games? There is only Game Club.
There is only game.
So I did. I rolled credits on Nier Replicant, and I only have questions.
For ending A, to clarify.
I only have questions, and I look forward to subsequent playthroughs.
Did you start Route B?
No, I have not.
I can't wait till you do.
I have not had enough time where I am sitting at the PS4 to do it. So going into my next, I've done a lot of monster hunting. I have hunted all of the new Elder Dragons. I finished all of the village quests up through rank whatever it is, but then they give you, and I didn't know this, I recently saw videos as to what you get from this final village quest. I'm not really gonna do a whole lot of spoiling, but the shit that they do in this game, in the final village quest that they hand you, you have to hunt. And I think it's a Nargacuga, a Rajang, or no, it's a Rajang, a Beelzejuice, and I say, or no, it's Basil Juice, because it's spelt like Beetlejuice. I don't know.
Beetlejuice.
I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, but I'm saying it that way because I like Beetlejuice. And then there's a third one. I think it's a Nargacuga, but I don't remember. And you have to do it in an arena, and you have to do it solo. So you are put into a completely tiny space with the most chaotic monsters in this game, and you have to finish it, and you have to survive. And it is difficult, and I hope I can figure out how to do it. I also finally nutted up and started practicing and trying to learn the gun lance, and trying to learn a new weapon in this game it's a fucking thing. The amount of homework I have to do, and the amount of mental aerobics I have to train myself to do in really committing to a new weapon. I think a smarter person might say it sucks, but for some reason I am completely enthralled with doing it. So I am probably going to, hopefully by the next show, I will be a little bit better with the gun lance than I am now. Other than that, that's all I've played. Michaela, where are you at in Nier?
I played one game. I played Nier. Didn't even play the Game Club game this week because I did that before.
Yeah.
So for Nier, I also rolled credits on ending A. I could have yesterday, if I wanted to, I could have gone and rolled credits on ending B. But as I mentioned, I'm doing a lot of my grind loading. I'm front loading my grind. So I have been working on knocking out them trophies. So I'm at the end of Route B.
Have you done the flowers? I knew I was gonna be the yes, I have, or that.
Whatever that was. So you know how I told you the flowers would take me 8 days?
Yeah.
What the guides don't mention is that it takes 8 days without clock manipulation and with good RNG.
Yes.
They don't mention the part with good RNG.
Went through all of this. Yeah.
I have sinned against RNGesus because clearly he is not with me.
No.
So I
you screwed me, RNGesus. You screwed me hard.
So you first, for the flowers, you have to crossbreed and get a peach colored flower. And I got 3 of those on my first attempt. And I was like, oh, nice. So then I went to go do the indigos. I got 1. And that is not enough. So I had to do the indigos twice. All right, fine. Did the indigos
why
twice.
didn't you let said indigo die to give you seeds?
No, I did. But then each flower only gives you like 4 or 5 seeds. And the beds, you need at least like 8 or 9 to plant, like, because it's a 15 plot and you're going every other. So you need like at least 8 seeds. So 1 flower is not enough. You need at least 2 minimum. Okay. So I got enough peach on my first try. I had to do indigo twice. And then I got 0 pinks on my first attempt. Zippo, zilch, none. And
Thanks
then today on my second attempt, I got 1 pink. So I still don't have enough. But the good news is, so long as you have 1 pink flower, you don't have to get to crossbreed anymore. You let it die, you get the seeds, you just plant the seeds, let those die and get those seeds. But that's another 2 days.
Yeah.
So I will get my first batch of pink seeds tomorrow. I'll replant those, and I'll get my next batch of pink seeds on Thursday, which means I can't even attempt to crossbreed the white flower until Thursday going into Saturday.
Question. Does the flower stuff carry over across playthroughs?
Yes, but. So.
But what?
So obviously I had started this before I finished ending A.
Yeah.
And it carried over
to
ending B, and it would carry over to ending C. Consider ending B the point of no return.
Sure.
So D into the new content with E, it will not carry over. It will not. I don't think. I wouldn't trust it. I would say if you're going to do the flowers, do it before ending B or in a different file.
Okay. Because I think so when I rolled credits, I ended up watching all the cutscenes and getting a lot of that story. But I missed, because I did that because I couldn't not watch them, I missed the trophy time by I think 2 hours. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to blitz through. I have a file at 6.5 hours, and I think from there, if I skip all cutscenes, I can make it to the end in the remaining 8 to get that trophy. And then I may actually start A again to do all of the grind.
I mean, you can do your grind and play through B of your thing.
Okay.
Like, you don't, so I think it depends.
Because I'm more worried about, because like I haven't done any farming at this point at all.
So long as you're doing side quests in part 2, you don't need to do 100% of the side quests in this game to get the platinum.
Sure.
You just need to do the ones in part 2 that yield weapons. Because you need all the weapons to get the C and D endings. But they are the best way to get money, because part 2 side quests will give you 10, 20, 30 grand a pop.
Okay.
So what I did was I actually only have 98 of the side quest completed because I have one side quest that needs 10 of these pink motherfucking seeds that I am growing. And
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so I that's that one I will be able to complete on Thursday, just not today, Satan.
No, it's RNGesus. Don't blaspheme against RNGesus. Don't tempt
RNGesus done blasphemed against me.
Don't tempt the anger of RNGesus. RNGesus be coming for you.
So, you know how I told you last week about jumping off a bridge to get eagle eggs? I thought I only needed one, but then I looked at a guide, and to do upgrades for weapons, I needed 4 eagle eggs, so I needed to get back on that bridge and jump off it some more. And so what I thought to myself was, if my roommate walks in right now, this is how this conversation goes. What are you doing? I'm jumping off a bridge. Why? Because RNGesus said if I commit suicide for him, my faith will be rewarded in the next life. Maybe. And then the hard part about doing that grind in post time skip, because I was originally doing it pre-time skip, Emil kept trying to heal me every time I jumped off the bridge, and I was like, Emil, I want to die, please stop.
Fucking Emil, you're such a great character, leave me alone.
But yes, so I've been doing my grind. I got so I did all the side quests I could, and then I sold a lot of my inventory to pop that trophy, and then I reloaded my save for the $1 million one, so I could start working on weapon upgrades. So I've got like 12 weapons fully upgraded. So I got the trophy for 5. I'm close to the trophy for 15, and then there's a trophy for 33, which is aided by the fact that there's the Yorha DLC, because those 4 weapons give you 4 more options to upgrade stuff, but they don't add to the total number of weapons you need to upgrade for the platinum.
Now, what is a fully upgraded weapon?
Level 4.
Level 4, okay.
Yeah, so
I think I have 1 or 2 at level 2. I think I did that because I thought it might matter. But then I realized, oh, wait a minute, it's Yoko Taro. He didn't give a shit. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So I've been using fully upgraded weapons for a little while. And I prioritize the ones that I like to use, which has mostly been the Yorha DLC ones, and then my 200 sword that I go to is Beastlord. But yeah, you need to do 33 fully upgraded, and that's going to be the worst part of the grind, because they did not adjust the RNG.
Oh, of course not. Of course not.
So it's just as bad as it was a decade ago.
You know, so, I'm gonna say this, kind of respect them for it.
Yep. I mean, it's tough. It is tough so like the rest of this grind, like the flowers thing, requires no effort. It just requires time and patience.
Mm-hmm.
The grinding for like memory alloy, eagle eggs, black pearls, broken wristwatches might be the undoing of me.
I need some broken swatches.
Please. I need 4. I need like 3, no, at least 2 or 3 more fucking forlorn necklaces. I'm gonna be a fucking forlorn necklace by the time this shit is done. But yeah, the drop rates for some of this shit is so low.
Michaela, the forlorn necklace. I kind of like this.
Yeah, it's gonna be on my tombstone. But happy days. I did the recycled world quest, aka what used to be DLC. I got my Papa Nier on. I got my Sejiro Daddy boys going. I got to play as Dad Nier. I cleared that. I did the DLC. But
how's Daddy Nier?
They made him prettier, and I don't know how I feel about it. Because he's supposed to be ugly as fuck.
I mean, fair. Like, yeah,
they cleaned up his character model, and now he looks nicer. And I'm like, and a little bit younger. That's
kind of fair, because it's like when your actual dad is going through a midlife crisis, and he starts taking care of his outward appearance, and you're just like, no, you just look weird now.
My dad just kind of like did the opposite. He retired from the police force and grew facial hair for like the first time in, I don't know, decades. He got that salt and pepper going. And
Daddy Nier manifests in the real world in different ways.
Yes, but no, I got my Dad Nier on. Yeah, no, I don't know how I feel about him looking nicer. He's supposed to be like this gruff, scruffy looking dude, like a scruff muffin, as I would usually say. And I kind of appreciate the fact that old Daddy Nier looks like he done crawled up out of a PS3 dumpster fire. I kind of but whatever, it's fine.
Well, I mean, from the footage I've seen, Dad and Nier and the OG Dad and Nier looked like he'd been through some shit.
He been through some shit.
Like he's seen some things.
Yeah, this is post time
They
skip
wanna
Dad
talk
here.
about-
He's got that's like thong on his face. You don't know what the fuck's happened to him.
Like, come on,
Like,
are you my father or are you cosplaying as the Hamburglar? I don't know what's going on right now.
Replicant Nier in the
Just
time
say
skip.
robble and we'll be fine.
Yeah, Replicant Nier in the time skip. He gets older and more mature and looks like an actual grown-up being. Dad Nier in the time skip, he loses an eye. Some shit happened. But yeah, I've also been playing, now that I finished Ending A, I've been playing with the Yorha DLC. I dressed up Kaine as A2 right now. I've got my boy dressed up as 9S. I've got the Nier Automata tracks playing just for fun.
Brought in 9S?
Yeah. But he doesn't wear shorts, and it bothered me at first. He wears long pants. I'm like, 9S is supposed to wear short shorts.
Yeah, he's supposed to be Angus Young. He's supposed to be a blindfolded Angus Young.
Yeah, but he is blindfolded. But yeah, I haven't been Kaine.
Jason likes that one.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I've been listening
Thanks for
to music.
including me.
Thank you for including me in this weeby conversation. But I've been enjoying the music. I've been interested, and I'm like, oh, what track are they going to put here? And I go to Facade for the first time. I'm like, if I get to this desert and it is Memories of Dust, I will melt.
God.
I then proceeded to become butter. It was fantastic.
Memories of Dust is really good.
Memories of Dust might be one of my favorite songs of all fucking time.
I've been listening to the Nier Replicant soundtrack a lot the past couple weeks, and I don't know if it's just because of recent, just because it's recent, but there's so much of it I think I like more than Automata.
I lean toward Automatas, but
Like,
Nier Automata's music wouldn't exist without Nier Replicants. So
sure. Like I'm also reconciling all of that as well. Like, look, this was here first, so of course. But also, like, Nier Automata has Peaceful Sleep. And Peaceful Sleep is pretty dope.
Memories of Dust. I love, so Grandma is originally a song in Replicant, but I love the version of Grandma Destruction that's in Automata.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, stuff like that. I love them both. Both are two of the best gaming soundtracks ever fucking made. You cannot argue it otherwise to me.
Cannot.
But yeah, so I've been playing around with the DLC. I'm at the ending of my playthrough B. I am grinding for materials. I've started doing some of the time trial, like boss fight trophies. The only one that I know I'm not going to be able to get in my playthrough B, and I tried for like an hour, and I feel like I wasted an hour of my life, was the Louise fight. Couldn't do it on Route B. Could not do it because so much of the fight is scripted. Louise is the shipwreck bitch thing that they added.
Oh yeah, that was fucking hard.
Not even that, but so much of the fight is scripted that you cannot make it go faster.
Like, I mean, I'm sitting here thinking about like ways to like cut your time down. Like,
yeah.
And that's
what I timed it. I was literally sitting in a chair timing it for an hour. And it was like on average 6 minutes, even with skipping all of the cutscenes. You have to do it under 5. My best was 5:35, and it was not getting any faster than that. You technically need to beat it in 4 because the last minute of the fight is scripted. So it was not doable.
I was shocked at how many of those I got in playthrough A.
Yeah, I try not to get them in playthrough A because I want to hear all the dialogue. And then what I've been doing is playthrough B is playing through it and letting it do its thing, and then reloading my save and doing it faster and skipping the cutscenes, because cutscenes count towards the in-game clock for these trophies. Yeah. Because when you do playthrough B, you do not want to skip cutscenes your first time through.
No, because you're going to get a whole bunch of new shit that you didn't know.
Yes, it's going to punch you in the feels.
Mm-hmm.
What else is these games going to do?
So I feel like I should cut you off there.
Yep.
Because I know that you said, this is the only other game you've played, and we should stop being nerds and let Jason talk. Jason,
I don't like that one. I don't like that one.
What else have you been playing? You didn't like it last week either, but I'm not stopping.
I don't like that.
That's it.
Are you done?
No, he changed his.
Wait, I don't know what that is.
Well,
what?
So
it came out on Friday.
On the PC front, I'm playing Bladed Fury, the game I picked up 2 weeks ago. which is really cool. Still enjoying it. Little WoW on the Vita.
Cool.
Scourgebringer.
Wait, did you say WoW on the Vita?
No. On the then WoW, a little WoW, and then on the period space.
Use your punctuation.
Period space on the Vita. Obviously, I was playing Scourgebringer. Beat it a few times. Tried the new mode, which is like a challenge mode, so working my way through that, which is a lot of fun. It's basically like adding extreme difficulty to, like, anytime you're on the ground, you lose 1 HP. So stay off the ground.
Yeah.
Or
You don't get your bearings in these fights.
On the Switch, more of Smelter, which is the Melee Mega Man, which also has some ActRaiser. There's world building that I stumbled upon.
Fuck you, Jason.
Yes.
How you doing in Monster Hunter? Yeah, you haven't touched it, have you?
Got the Platinum in Outriders.
Cool. Congratulations.
Thank you. Then double dip because I found out if you load up the other system, you get a free Platinum. So why not?
Wait, what? If you load up the...
If you load up PS4, it auto pops.
Oh, yeah, no, that's kind of why I want to do Neo 2 on PS4 and then get a PS5 and pop all that.
First PS5.
The exception of the 8 trophies, and oh no, I'll have to go back and do 8 things.
I'd actually be curious as to what the trophy videos. They're all going to be just a loading screen.
Yeah, no, that's what it is. That's what it is. I can confirm that's what it does.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Michaela Kashone.
I deleted them all.
Woman in the street confirming for us now.
I'm reporting live from fucking Stop.
And I picked up a new game. Technically Jeff did, but Returnal is out.
I'm sorry, what?
Returnal.
I'm sorry, what?
Returnal.
I feel like you are letting us into your personal life a little too far, Jason. Oh, Returnal. My bad. I was like, we're talking about something else.
AMA. Ask me anything.
So I don't have anything to ask because this game looks fun.
And I've already talked to you about it, and you already know that this is a fuck you, Jason, from me.
Yes. 2 of them in one episode. No.
For 2 different games.
Returnal is an absolute blast. I'm really enjoying. They did the job Housemarque did. I can't get over how they've incorporated the DualSense into the game. It's just like the sound, the random sounds you hear just walking around coming out of the DualSense to kind of give you the sense that like you're like it's almost full immersion. It's just insanity what they're doing. And using the trigger feedback is just I'm having a blast. This is phenomenal what they did. Is it worth $70? Yes, I think it is. To some, no.
Well, I also think that like the people saying it's not worth $70, and I'm not really going to invalidate their point of view because I think that point of view is valid.
I think my issue with the price point argument is it's different for everyone. You could argue
it's completely subjective.
Like, I don't know if you have either of you heard of the game Rift. It's an MMO. It's a PC MMO. It's free. Mm-hmm. I had over 350 hours. I would have gladly paid $60-$70 for it with the amount of time I got out of it.
Yeah.
Dead Cells I got for $25. I spent 78 hours in. I mean, it's. I think people are just focusing on a price point that doesn't. I think the better price point argument, in which we discussed, was MLB being $70 and then it's day one Game Pass.
Mhm.
There you have some of argument, but you can't decide. And Returnal's been selling, so obviously it wasn't that big. And it's weird because there's people who bought it are complaining. It's like, then why'd you buy it?
Yeah, my problem is you can't say it's not worth $70 because Housemarque has never made a AAA game before, so their game should be worth less. That is the worst argument on the planet.
Oh yeah, that's dog shit right there.
Just because they've only made like what would you call them, AA or indie, whatever the fuck.
No, they're kind of they don't. Sony doesn't own them, but all of their games are on PlayStation, I think.
Yeah, but it's I think to me it's not like AA versus indie is like a weird, but like the point is, yes, if a game is a smaller budget game, they don't need to sell it as at highest a price point. But this is a AAA production that clearly cost a fuckload of money to make because look what they did.
Yeah,
and it's just because they haven't traditionally been a AAA studio doesn't mean they can't go to the AAA price. And as for my own take, how long have games been selling at $60? It's been a very long time since we've had a price increase on that general standard AAA type of game. It's been 60 for a while, so I felt like it was kind of expected to see a slight price. Stuff is more expensive now, so I'm not that surprised by the $70 thing. It doesn't bother me that much. It's games are leisure. You don't have to have them. You can pick them up on a sale if you physically cannot afford that extra $10.
Yeah.
So to me, I think the arguments against this game costing what it costs for the developer to make a profit on a very expensive, budget-intensive game for them, I think it's fine.
Is $60 the first actual price setting? The reason I asked that is because I grew up, with the NES, and it was kind of the wild, wild west in terms of pricing.
I feel like by like the early 2000s, there was a pretty set, like when I was buying PS2 games, they always cost the same. And I want to say it was closer to like the $40 to $50 range 20 years ago.
Okay.
So it has come up, but I don't think it's come up since PS3. So
no, it definitely hasn't. It definitely has not.
It's not that surprising that it's finally making that jump. Now, the argument can be made regionally. The translation of that $10 extra isn't equal across. So like it is not. So that's where you're going to have some problems, and I understand those pain points for sure.
Yeah, I mean, because I think I listening to Giant Bomb, they have listeners all over the world, and someone will write in from another region and be like, "Yeah, I have to pay $125 for Returnal," and at that point, I'd be like, "Don't do that. Like, get something else."
So I'm talking people bitching about 70 USD and they live here.
Sure.
Now, even just like 70 pounds is different than $70.
Yeah, exactly.
Fun fact. I didn't read the list, but Yoko Taro's top 10 games of all time, 3 are Housemarque games, apparently.
That makes sense compared to
that does make sense
what he's done. But so what I want to say about Returnal is I just like the fact that they figured out something that was kind of right under their nose. Because they said the arcade game was dead, the arcade shooter that they had done. Basically, they said, we can't make these games because they're dead. But then they said, oh, let's just make it a roguelike. And now all of a sudden...
It's a 3D roguelike bullet hell arcade third-person shooter. It's very unique. And I want it so bad.
It does play...
It's 3D Binding of Isaac almost.
But it does play similarly to Risk of Rain too.
Okay.
Movement-wise and kind of traversal with different elements, but it's similar to that. It's a beautiful game. The atmospheres are just, you play with I've been playing with headphones on and at 3 a.m, it's creepy as fuck.
Yeah, I've heard people talk about so much, obviously, how much they took advantage of the DualSense with the different pressures on the triggers and all that stuff. I want to know what it's like playing, because I've got the Pulse 3D And I really can't pull the trigger on this
yeah.
game right now for the reasons that we've discussed, because money, moving, but also I can't use a game that I can't put into rest mode on my PS5 because my PS5 has an issue with rest mode, which I'm hoping gets fixed because it's annoying. But I have a question for you, Jason, because I'm a little bitch. Are there jump scares in this?
No. When I say
good.
it's creepy, the atmosphere is creepy, but
Nothing's popping out at you.
nothing.
Really?
So it does that video game thing or horror movie thing where the music changes and you're like, ah, crap, I'm about to fight something, aren't I?
Just so long as there's no jump scares, I'm good.
No, there's no. You kind of, and it does this thing where you kind of sense the enemies and you see their silhouette, like between, like that they're about to come up from like a platform underneath you. You kind of, there's no jump scares. It's creepy in the sense that this is an alien planet and you kind of don't know what the hell's going on. But yeah, I mean, I obviously don't take my word for it, but don't read the internet because it's very divided on this game and for dumb reasons. Like, it's just
What?
I know, it's incredible.
The internet, really?
What?
The internet's dumb. I can't
I mean,
believe
you can't get sound discourse on the internet? Come on.
Don't
what are we even doing here?
Me and Michaela were talking about this. I can go on for hours over this, dissecting how dumb some of the viewpoints on this game are that make no sense whatsoever.
But so let's actually bring that conversation in a little bit.
So yeah, there's been a call for checkpoints in the game, but there's been two separate calls. One is the runs in the game could be lengthy. I've had close to 2-hour runs. I've had 5-minute runs, which, Matt, you've played enough roguelikes. You know, like, you have a successful run for 2 hours. Next run, first enemy just fucks your face up.
I think you might have been watching me stream Binding of Isaac, where I did where I did 4 victory laps, and the next run I died in the first room.
Some people want a checkpoint in the sense that they don't want to put. So I'm one of the few. I'll put my PlayStation in rest mode. I live on the edge apparently, but I do understand rest mode has caused issues for a lot of people. So
that's just on PS5 though, right?
Yes. So for example, Matt, like we know since launch, some people have big stuff crashing in rest mode.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my issue. It didn't happen to me initially, but for the past month or so, and especially since that firmware update a couple weeks ago, every time I turn my PS5 on, it doesn't recognize my DualSense anymore. So I have to hold the button on the console to do a manual reset. And then suddenly, as soon as it comes back on, it remembers that it's paired with my DualSense. So I can't leave games on in rest mode because I'm constantly resetting my PS5 to get it to pair with my DualSense.
So a checkpoint in that sense, like you turn it off, because actually Dead Cells has that. I don't know if you ever noticed that, Matt. You can quit the game to the menu. If you select continue, it puts you where you are. I don't know if you could do it in combat. I think you have to be out of. I've never tested that. I've never thought to quit the game in combat, but it'll put you right back into that very spot. So that I'm okay with because I understand. Even having kids, like I get interrupted, I'll put the game in rest mode. But yeah, some people you'd rather just shut it off. But then people are calling for like checkpoints when they die, they don't go back to the beginning. I'm just gonna stop you there. It's a roguelike.
Yeah, no, then it ceases to be a roguelike at that point.
And also, not even the roguelike. The story of this game is you die and you're back where your ship crashed, and she's figuring out. That's the basic plot. So forget a rogue. Like TV shows and movies do it. It's a time loop. Like her not returning to the crash site kind of destroys the plot point.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and they've announced that this was a roguelike. It wasn't like a
it wasn't a secret.
No. So I like what Jason's point is, and that I agree with, is it should still be a roguelike. You don't need checkpoint systems so that you can
Start over.
skirt around the fact that it's a roguelike, but they could try to push an autosave for people who don't have like the full 2 hours. So like either when you quit out or they just push an autosave every minute or so or something like that, so that you don't get screwed if you can't use rest mode, or if you just need to, like somebody else is using it and they need to close the software or whatever, or there's a crash, because there are some crashes. So if you have that autosave every minute or so, that'll mitigate the impact of a crash ruining a run or something like that. So there's a difference between autosave and not being a roguelike anymore. So that's where Twitter is tearing itself a new asshole.
And then there's when you beat a boss, you don't have to fight it again, which is actually different from a lot of roguelikes.
Yeah, that almost puts you in roguelite territory.
No, that is total roguelite.
You can just skip to the next area. I mean,
man, Spelunky, if Spelunky did that when I first played it, I would have beaten that game in way less than 6 years.
So here's the catch. Since it's randomized, you don't know how to get to the next area immediately.
Procedurally generated roguelite.
You still gotta fight through some stuff. It's just the boss is not. But I mean, there's and then I heard like, oh, you need to balance the risk. So there's items in like Binding of Isaac. There's a risk and a reward for these items. And people are like, oh, they need to balance it. No, that's the point.
Yeah.
You have to choose. That's the whole, that's the core. It drives me nuts that these people are like, but Hades was a roguelike. No, Hades is a different game.
Yes, Hades is a roguelite, but it is not the roguelite.
Right.
And it also had negative buffs. Again, like a lot of roguelikes do this, where what were they called in Hades? The
chaos
bounty things at the end, the things you could turn on that
the heats.
The heats. Thank you. I could not for the life of me. A lot of roguelikes have these elements in here where it is risk reward, where you take a negative for a positive, or even just the chaos stuff. Like
the chaos rooms. And see, and this is when now I'm not going. I've avoided a lot of the discourse around Returnal, mainly because one, it's a game I'll probably play. I don't know if I'll pay $70 for it, but it's a game I will probably play at some point. I have seen most of the discourse that I've really been privy to is a lot of people going after Dia Lucina at Paste for her review, and that's fucking rude. like this is a person who basically spends a lot of her reviews over the course of her time, and I've read her on Waypoint. I've read her at a ton of places. I've heard her on Uppercut podcasts. And I'm sorry, I'm going to apologize right now. I'm pretty sure she identifies as she, her. If she doesn't, that's on me.
She does.
I don't have.
So.
Okay, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, Dia. I love Dia's writing. It is one of when I became aware of Dia, it was a Tomb Raider review, and she spent. She wrote a long review of Tomb Raider, and she said wasn't bad, but she's kind of sick of white people going into, South America, or she's sick of white people just exhibiting colonialism and imperialism everywhere. And all of that is alongside talking about the game. And not only that, it's talking about the game eloquently. Now, people are coming at Dia because she brings her politics to her reviews, which is not a problem. If you take that as an offense, that's on you. That's not on Dia. And I also want to recognize that Dia does not need me to defend Dia because she's smarter than I am. I've read her. I recognize she doesn't need me to say any of this because I'm another colonizer, which is fair because look, I'm John Q. White dude. Look at my face. I look like Corey Haim's twin cousin, for God's sake. But the fact that people are coming at her because of her Nier Replicant review, because they're saying this is the woman who said that Nier is better when you turn on auto combat. Have you looked at the auto combat in Nier? I'm asking you, Michaela, because I know
in Automata, I've seen people use it, but I haven't looked at it in Replicant, even though I know it's
in
there.
Replicant, it looks like the most anime shit ever. It looks fucking sick. And like, we can be honest, combat in Nier Replicant ain't great.
It's better than it used to be.
It's sure. My taste buds are better than they used to be because my wife is a great cook. But like looking at, I put the auto combat on in Nier Replicant. I'm like, I get it. This looks sick. This looks really fucking cool. And most people are saying, oh, that's just because game journos are bad at games or whatever. And they're hiding behind whatever sort of gatekeeping bullshit they want to do. And I think that's wrong. And I really hope that when Dia said she was done, I really hope that that's not true because this space needs a critic like her.
I don't read her reviews.
Sure.
But not because I don't like them. I'm very picky about the reviews I read. And
that's okay.
But I think there's a place for I'm not saying she just writes op-eds, but I think there's a place for op-eds. There's also a place for review. So as a reviewer, I want you to know what I think of the game. And not that I'm a salesperson, but kind of sell you either to get it or not to get it. Right. And I think it's important. And I think the people complaining about her reviews have no business reading her reviews in a sense. You can read whatever you want, but they're I feel some of the discourses, they're surprised. You kind of I know what she's written in the past. I don't want to hear about the political parties when deciding if I'm buying Returnal. That's me. I want to read a review. I watch ACG's review. I watch Phillips. I want to know sound, presentation, gameplay, fun factor. I subscribe to Switch Up they cover all new Switch releases, and those are their categories. That's the stuff I want. So I think, again, the internet's dumb. Sure. I don't think you should ever attack. First off, because as a reviewer, it hurts me when people attack. Reviews are opinions of the person. They're not necessarily right.
Right.
They're not wrong. They're their take on the game. She writes her reviews in a certain way that, though, I think it's for a certain audience. If people are reading this and well, I don't care about the politics. This is a garbage review. It's not a new thing. She just threw that in there. Let me do this. And oh yeah.
And you're right. Because I feel like they're attacking her because of queer woman.
Right. There's also that. There's also plenty of people attacking
not white. There's a whole bunch of other insidious bullshit along that.
Exactly. There are plenty of people attacking her. It doesn't even matter what the review is about. It's about who wrote the review.
Yeah.
And I think it's shitty. And I think yes, I feel bad for Dia, and obviously nobody has to feel bad for these big companies, but you're taking away from Returnal. She wrote what she wrote.
Yeah.
Like it or not, you don't have to attack her. They made a game. You're causing all this negative attention about her writing, and this game. It's not. Nobody needs that. Just if you don't like it, don't read it. If you don't like her, keep your opinion to yourself, because you're just an internet troll. Nobody cares about your opinion. And I feel like it's the narrative around this game is luckily the early reviews praise this enough that I think this little stuff, like if you're not into like gaming Twitter, if you
miss
only
this.
hear like if like IGN or GameSpot is your one source, like you check it out, oh, new releases this week, these are the reviews, that's fine. But like when you start getting into like the Reddits and all that,
but if you look it up on Metacritic, if that's what you're doing,
like,
you're gonna see that this is scored well.
Yeah.
Like I personally wouldn't read her review to find out if I'm buying a game. I'd read her review for her take on how she interpreted all this. I'm not reading it to be like, oh, is this a buy, like an ACG input, buy, wait for sale, never touch. Like that's not why at least I would read her reviews.
Yeah, some reviews are for entertainment. Like I do that with girlfriend reviews. If you guys have ever seen that on YouTube, that's not a serious review. It's for entertainment. There's some reviews, like ACG is one of the few that I look at, and this asshole Jason Marshall, I read a lot of his reviews.
Girlfriend reviews. That's the one where the guy plays a game and his girlfriend reviews it.
For the most part. Yeah. Sometimes she plays them too.
Okay. All right,
They're mostly comedy.
And that's what great. That shit's
fucking great. Sometimes they're for entertainment. Sometimes they're for serious buyers. Sometimes they're ads. Sometimes and sometimes they are for dissecting the game on a level that's beyond purchase intent. And at that point, it is like when I do that, like I didn't review FF7, but I wrote about FF7 and looking at the implications of the new content and the story and the lore and the theories and all that stuff. At that point, I take it. I don't call it my review of the game. I personally label it as something different, but that doesn't mean another writer can't call that their review of the game.
Sure,
it's just not something somebody's gonna. So different reviews have different purposes. You don't need to be a dick if it's not the review you should be looking at.
Yeah,
just scroll through your Google page a little bit further. You'll find that IGN, that Metacritic, whatever the fuck.
You know when you can attack a reviewer, and I say this, I'm mostly joking. If someone wrote
when they review the same game on PS4 and then they review it 2 years later on Vita.
Yeah, no, that's garbage. Do that. No, but if
what kind of fucking asshole would do that shit?
If someone reviewed this and said Housemarque's response to MLB The Show not being exclusive anymore is actually garbage.
That's a good point.
Then it's like, okay.
Yeah, there are some legitimately bad takes that are just
there are some, and even for some of the bigger media, they don't, like some of them, they don't check these reviews. And I'm not saying attack the writer, but there should be some response. Like if I wrote in Loop Hero that something about the roguelike that was completely wrong, yes, there's a way to point that out. Like a lot of these sites have comment sections. But like straight up attacking the person for who they are, or because your opinion's different, because it's like, so your opinion is different than their opinion, which you read, so you're right, they're wrong. Like, no. But it's just, but it's the internet. We can't, that's why we can't have nice things.
Exactly.
There are, I don't know how many reviews of Returnal there are. There's probably hundreds. There are plenty of other reviews. If you don't like her writing, don't read it. Or keep it or you read it, you don't like it, fine. You don't have to threaten her or.
And the last thing I'm going to say, just to sort of dovetail in this, the reason I continue to read Dia's work is she reviews games the way I reviewed music, where it wasn't necessarily what I heard. Because ultimately, if I'm reviewing an album, I'm saying, oh, look, it's this person singing, and then there's surprise, drums, guitar, bass, synthesizers, problems in production, people who know what they're doing to put out something of audio quality. But what I would try to do, because I don't know anything about music theory, I couldn't talk about how good the arpeggios are. I couldn't talk about how smooth the chord progressions are. I couldn't talk about how appropriate they are and what they make me feel. What I can do is talk about how this sound works, how this particular track leading into this particular track made my listening experience change, whether it was a nice progression or kind of a car crash. Now, games are much more expansive of an art form than listening to a music album. It is something that you interact with both here, and you're also taking in multiple senses at once. So naturally, like, it'll be closer to a movie critique where you are seeing both your own personal belief system as well as the belief system of an auteur, if you want to give someone that title, or the belief system of a team in play that put this piece of content together. Is that always right? No, but your interpretation is sort of the conversation of your point of view and theirs. And I think Dia is one of 5 or 6 that not only articulates that interaction, but they articulate it astutely, insouciantly, and they are not afraid to reckon with it as hard as they possibly can for both any creator to see as well as any reader. Now, then it goes into what Jason was saying, like, it's the internet. Not everybody reads it the same way. Like, look for example, look at that asshole Elon Musk putting, Deus Ex as his Twitter handle for a while, whatever he did. That's some multi-billionaire going, yeah, I'm a gamer, whereas he also doesn't understand. Like, it's very clear that Elon Musk and I would read Deus Ex way differently. He would be like, yes, science guy, that's real cool, making augments and whatever, whereas I'm seeing this as a dystopia that people like him create. But I feel like we are way off track.
Yeah.
Although that did remind me, didn't head of PlayStation stream Housemarque's game, and he was shredding it up? Didn't Jim Ryan do that? He was killing it at Returnal, something like that. I think I saw on Twitter. Somebody who usually gets accused of not being a real gamer. I think it was Jim Ryan shredding this game.
All of them get accused of not.
Yeah, and then like Mark Cerny's pretty good at shutting people up because he games hard.
Yeah,
but I think it was Jim Ryan this time.
Mark Cerny's cred, he got the Invisible Ink Platinum, which very few people actually have. So gamers can fuck off. And regardless, before you even get into trophy stuff, gamers can fuck off in general.
Oh yeah,
as gamers. I wish
I'm telling you, our tagline should be "Dear gamers, it's not always about you."
Thank you. You know what? I'm willing to change it if you are.
It's too long for a title.
But yes, this is a very good game. I get the $70 price, but other than that, I think this is worth the checking out. I get that is kind of a roadblock for some people, but other than that, just if you can, give it a try.
I'm picking it up as soon as it goes on sale because that's what I told myself. And if I wasn't moving, I might have already picked this up. You know what I mean? But I am.
You have it, don't you? Don't lie.
I don't have it. You can check.
You can Photoshop those receipts.
Yeah, no. If I wasn't moving and I didn't have the PS5 rest mode issues that I do.
Returnal of memory, just saying.
I do have some days where I think, God, I wish Jason actually.
What if Jason actually plays Persona 5?
No, I have it on my wish list. And I'm like, hey, look, it's below $40 now. I could just get it. And I'll never know, but I won't.
Get it on Switch. We'll never know then.
Yes, you can. I think I'm friends with the other guys on Switch. Just
I'm friends with you on Switch too, I believe.
I don't think so.
Oh well,
It's
that's your
awkward.
that's your fault.
Awkward. All right.
I put my friend ID in the group chat.
All right. Well,
Yeah, you did. Let's talk about news.
quick.
For
real
Michaela
quick.
and I have an LQ here.
We did have a state of play, which was announced, more Ratchet and Clank and updates on 2 indies. So when the state of play came out and people were upset about state of play's content, it blew their mind. Yes.
Me in the back.
Yes. Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
Sony, this state of play is going to be about Ratchet Clank and 2 indie games. Gamers, what do you mean this is only going to be about Ratchet and Clank and 2 indie games?
All right, I have a counterpoint.
Yes.
They could have just done it on Ratchet and Clank, and those 2 indie updates could have been on their Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, they didn't even need to be
I
in there.
completely agree.
Well, it was Among Us and something else.
Subnautica.
Which
Yeah, that could have been a tweet. No disrespect, Sony.
one of? Oh no, that's not.
Among Us really could have been a tweet.
Yeah.
PlayStation Plus for May was announced. We're getting Wreckfest on PS5, which I'm actually really interested in. It just seems like a fun game.
Wreckfest is the battle royale with cars, right?
But I don't think I think it's more Twisted Metal. It's not really battle royale in the sense of like Fortnite battle royale, but I think it is like I think it's like 8 or 10 cars only type.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it is
for some reason
royale.
I'm thinking I remember Giant Bomb playing it and Ben Pack messing with people going gang all over the place, which is funny.
What is the other? Stranded?
Death Stranding?
No. Although it is another game in the Stranded genre. No. Stranded, something. It's
Stranded is a Strand game. Is that what you're talking about?
I didn't make the joke. I just relayed it from the. And I can't remember the other one. If someone can look that up. What?
Battlefield.
Battlefront or Battlefield?
Battlefield 5.
Okay.
Because, well, supposedly there's going to be a trailer in the next few days or weeks.
Oh, yeah. They were saying there's more Battlefield coming. Oh, great.
Well, it was 6 is already announced. We know that.
Well, we know 6 is. Yeah, I guess we were going to get a trailer. We knew last week, but Lost Souls aside, it seems that was the only thing at the China Hero.
Yeah, what a tease.
I mean, they could have articulated the press conference, as, instead of saying China Hero Project update, they could have said update on one game from the project.
Right.
Like, they could have set expectations a little bit better, but that was the first update in 2 years. So I'm very happy to see that game. No release date, unfortunately, but they did confirm PS4 and PS5 versions.
17 minutes of gameplay available.
18. They added another minute.
18. 18. The Monster Hunter stream updated the Monster Hunter Rise, New Dragons, and we got some news about Stories 2, with that release coming in June?
June or July? Summer.
July.
I believe a crossover DLC with Rise.
The Devolver announcement was Essays on Empathy. It's a PC game. It's 10. It's a collection of 10 games.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what's in that?
I don't know.
Okay, go with the next story. I'll look it up.
Nier Reincarnation English localization's complete, and we should get a release date soon.
Finally.
I never want mobile games until this year, and now between Fantasian and Nier Reincarnation, and then next year with the FF7 bullshit, I'm suddenly going to become a mobile gamer, and I'm going to have to get a Backbone thing for my phone.
Mm-hmm. Dude, Backbone's really good.
You know what? You're the reason I've been thinking about it.
It really is. It's $100, worth every penny.
Would you get Reincarnation? Because I think it was.
I'm definitely getting Reincarnation. I don't think Sinnoh Alice works on it. Honestly, I've not tried because I had to get rid of that when I got Apple Arcade. But yeah, I'm definitely going to get Reincarnation. I mean, I would also recommend trying Sinnoh Alice. It's a gacha game with a really interesting sort of intro and setup. combat really didn't do a lot for me, but it was still just the Yoko Taro style is all over it. It's very nice.
The Days Gone 2 petition has reached over 100,000 signatures. What's great is it's being promoted by Jeff Ross, the director of Days Gone. He is no longer with Ben, so I guess he can do that, because I don't think he would have been able to. Hopefully something comes of it. I mean, obviously people want it. We'll see. And
if they're working on another IP, though, it just won't be anytime soon.
Right. But I think people would be fine with if they said, okay, we'll do it, but here's what's coming next. But
you don't want to announce it now and then have it come out in 5-6 years, though.
No. And then while Matt looks that up, the last bit of news, which was announced today, or Monday when you listen to this, Sony entered into a partnership with Discord.
Yeah.
So,
which turned the tables, because everybody was saying, oh, Microsoft was going to buy them like 2 weeks ago.
I knew about the Microsoft stuff, but I actually don't have any clue what this means.
So this is just a partnership.
Yeah, they bought a minority stake.
They bought a minority stake. What I think it's going to be is we're going to see Discord integration into, PSN. I don't know about PS4, but most likely PS5. So similar,
I think it's the mobile app. I think they already confirmed it's going to be across like any sort of chat, whatever.
It's basically the similar deal they have with Microsoft. So if you're on Discord, you can actually see then what your friends are playing on the other platforms. It has chat options, obviously the voice chat, but the only thing with the voice chat is you'd have to use a different. I don't know if you'd be using Discord on your PS5.
You could, though.
Or my next
if they do it.
You could, then you could do, like, say you played Outriders crossplay with someone on PC or Xbox, you'd have the voice chat available without having
do PSN.
Right, or you, like when we played Monster Hunter Rise, we're on Discord on PC. So instead of using another device to use Discord, you'd have it built in for something like that.
So it's not going to be till next year. And it will probably work differently. I wouldn't be surprised on PS4 versus PS5. And I do think there will be some sort of mobile integration. I wouldn't be surprised whether it's in Discord's app or in the PSN app. But we all know Sony needs to continue fixing what it did to its party system, etc. And, they're no Nintendo when it comes to online chat, but that doesn't mean they can't improve either. So this is good news.
And that does it for the news.
I'm trying to find the list of these games, and the only thing I can really find is that one of the game, or no, they are. It's a compilation of Deconstruct Team's best efforts. Deconstruct Team are the developers behind Red Strings Club, which is a visual, I want to say it's a visual novel, or it's a point and click adventure that centers around a bar. And I remember Giant Bomb talking about it when it came out. I don't know how many years ago now, but I never actually got to play it because it's not been anywhere near PlayStation. I know it's on Switch, but what's not on Switch except for, like, at this point, Spelunky 1 and 2. And most of Blendo's output. But yeah, something to look at if you like bite-sized indie games.
It looks like it's Deconstruct Teams. It's 9 games from their itch.io page and 1 new game, They Trace El Cuatro.
Okay.
Is what it is. So it's definitely a departure from your typical aliens, saw blades cutting people in half, heads exploding Devolver experience.
The edgelord Devolver Digital.
But Devolver usually almost always picks winners, so it won't be for everyone. But again, gamers.
It's not all about you.
All right. Well,
I feel like we should just end our show with that, and then whenever Moose is here, he'll do the bye,
okay.
and I'll be like, hey, you know what? We're just gonna end with gamers. It's not always about you.
All right. I'm good with that.
With the biggest fucking smile on my face. It's not about you.
And
At Story Route Zero, we have some cool friends who do some cool things, and I'd like to tell you about them. Phoenix Overdrive uses the power of games and gamers to help heal sick kids through the charity Extra Life. Phoenix Overdrive fundraises for Children's Miracle Network hospitals all year, every year, and the fund culminates in a 24-hour gaming marathon. Find out more about their events and projects online via Facebook at facebook.com/Phoenix Overdrive or on Twitter and Instagram at PHX_Overdrive. You can also join the Facebook group of Pawn Stars at facebook.com/groups/PO Nation in order to share and discuss all the latest in nerd culture. They've also got a podcast, Nerd Overdrive, which you can see weekly at youtube.com/Phoenix Overdrive. You can also catch it on Facebook Live or twitch.tv/PHX_Overdrive. That podcast is also published on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Stitcher. You want merch? They got merch. Merch can be ordered from tinyurl.com/PHXOD merch, a portion of which goes to their fundraising efforts. Join the nation and be a hero to sick kids, as El Capitan Ray Osorio, Lee the Maestro, and Becky, the lovely queen of the guild, always say, #Rise Above. Thank you for listening to Story Route Zero. We hope you have enjoyed your time here as much as we've enjoyed having you. Once again, questions, concerns, complaints, pictures of pets, or favorite recipes can be sent to storyroute0@gmail.com. You can yell at us on Twitter at StoryRoute0. Rate us and review us on iTunes, YouTube, or wherever you may have found us, as it helps with discoverability. If you'd like to hit us up individually, you can find Moose Cool at Sven, that's SVHENN on Twitter, PSN, Instagram, and of course Twitch, streaming games. You can find Jason Marshall writing at obelisk.co. You can also find him on Twitter at GimpyJ with 2 Y's at the end, as well as PSN, Instagram, and Twitch. He also has his own website, whereisthepausebutton.com. You can find Michaela Crescione doing all sorts of writing at obelisk.co, as well as on Twitter at RedXMaud. My name is Matthew Keel. You can find me everywhere I'd like to be at infinite_rewind. That's Twitter, that's Instagram, that's Twitch, that's PSN, and I also have my own website, infiniterewind.com. Be sure to check us out at all the places. You are always welcome, and you will always have a seat waiting for you on this ride. Thank you for listening, but for now, it's back to the real world for us. So we will see you on the next one.